Thank you for watching. That's normally how I sign off my vlogs. But if you're watching this, then that means you're already helping me to make a difference. I'm Philip Dehaney and I've been making That Stagey blog for nearly a year. During that time, I've met and interviewed some incredible people. And this month, I will be meeting some of the most remarkable. In this series, I will be interviewing people from the theatre community living with HIV and people who have spoken publicly about it. Each of their stories is very different, as is the way that they choose to tell them. Some people are able to talk publicly about it. Some people prefer to stay private, and that's okay. I hope that these videos will encourage you to listen and to talk. And whether you want to share your story with somebody, I hope that these videos will encourage you to start those conversations. I hope that these videos will answer some of your questions and encourage you to ask more.
Into silence.
Well, yeah, what I'm trying to say is that I am HIV positive, and it's shouldn't be, but it's so hard to say and talk about.
That terrified me is after the production, I had no reason that that person would be me. I had never thought that I would ever be HIV positive.
Of all the people in the world having sex, of which there are very, very many, why did I have to be the one to get HIV?
I'm Philip, I'm 32 years old and I'm from the United Kingdom. When I was 24 years old, I went to the STI clinic over my lunch break from work. They did the initial HIV test and that came back as HIV positive.
Today is a very special day. You could say it's a red letter day, if you like. And I've been thinking about making this video for a very long time. I know some people won't like it, and I'm thinking that's even more of a reason why it should happen and why I would like everyone to know that I'm HIV positive.
You never forget when you get told. I got a text message saying, I'm HIV positive and now so are you. And that's when you go, no, I'm not. I thought, well, if I don't know, then I'll be fine. I thought, like many still do, that if you have HIV, then that's it.
So let's start from where. So we met in Edinburgh.
Are we on it? We're on already?
Yeah, we're on.
Well, cheers. Hi.
Cheers.
I love your t-shirt, by the way. I love this.
Thank you.
And the ribbon is the A. You're so...
I know.
I love it.
I considered putting it there, but then I
No,
said,
because
it
A
works.
and then for AIDS and...
Exactly.
So clever. Look at you, marketing genius. Where can I get
You can have one of these. I'll get you one.
Oh, girl.
What size would you like?
I'm not going to tell you, not live. Because I went to go. I was going to this awards thing tonight, and I went to get a new outfit, and I cried in TK Maxx yesterday.
Oh,
some sizes are not the sizes that I wore before, and I'm like, oh.
Well, that's TK Maxx. Maybe they just get them wrong.
But when you're trying to squeeze into skinny fit and it's definitely, and you're 2 sizes bigger than what you thought you were, it's quite sad. Anyway.
So I met you in Edinburgh.
Yes.
When you were doing, how would you describe your show in Edinburgh?
Misfit Warrior, piece of gig theatre, autobiographical.
Yeah.
Telling my story about not giving up through adverse circumstances.
God, you've got that down, haven't you?
Well, bitch, I was selling it for like 4.
I was very moved by it.
Thank you very
I
much.
genuinely, it's very brave and very bold. So tell me more about it. Like, what did it cover? Tell me your story.
Oh my god!
In a nutshell.
Yeah, but last time I did that, it was 2 podcasts. Yeah. It was like 4 hours. In a nutshell, really quickly, I got diagnosed with HIV in 2010, late 2010, and then unfortunately for me, it was quite far gone, and we didn't know how far really until in the April the following year. That was October 2010. The April following year, it was just I had a really bad appendicitis, which I had a hideous operation for, and they discovered that I had cancer, which was caused by a breakdown in the immune system, which is HIV. So I was in hospital for about a year having very, very intensive chemotherapy. And I almost died at one point, but obviously didn't. And then got out the other side, remission. This Christmas, it's 8 years remission or something.
Wow.
And then 3 years to recover. This is really quick. This is the quickest time I've told it. Recovered from it, and about 2.5 years ago, they discovered I was getting really ill, and they discovered that I have a defect in my immune system, which was caused by a chemotherapy that saved my life. And it basically the fundamental part of your immune system, which is B cells and antibodies, anything to fight any kind of virus infection, I don't have. So yeah, so I've been knocked down, pick myself back up, knocked down, pick myself back up. So how do you not give up? And the show came because I did a video and I came out about my status in 2017 on World AIDS Day, and I put a video online and it went viral. Funny word. I think it's so funny. Yes, it went viral, and I discovered how important it is to actually share your story and speak up, because the response was amazing.
So going back to 2010, when you were first diagnosed and you said it was quite far gone, was that because you hadn't been tested regularly?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember why that was?
I got myself, I hadn't been tested regularly, and it's like, I don't know, I'm sure it's in the back of everybody's minds, but a gay man, a promiscuous gay man, and I'm using the word promiscuous in a very positive sense, because I'm very positive about it. Sexual freedom, go do what you want. However, and this is what I've learned the hard way, but so I was having fun, having a good time, but I wasn't really getting tested, and I was too scared to, because I've been poorly educated.
Right.
Poorly educated. And
is that what stemmed from?
Now I've unravelled it years later, and you sort of really go, why? Is it just me not being responsible? It's like, well, you're an adult, you should know better. But hang on, if you're not informed and it's not programmed into you when you're being programmed that way, you know, about looking after yourself, looking after your mental health, looking after your sexual health, your physical health, like all of that. No one, when I was at school, God.
So you knew about HIV, and you knew
where
you could get tested, you knew how to...
But never did it.
But you didn't because of a fear?
Because I left it too long, and then I was
scared that it would case?
Well, then I was too scared to then probably find... Well, there's a line in the show that I say, well, you know, I was just too scared to find out the inevitable, because I kind of probably go, you probably do have it. But I was so frightened. And also poorly educated about HIV and AIDS and what it is and what life like is on it. And at this time, the undetectable thing, which I'm sure we'll get to later, was not... Even when I got diagnosed, undetectable was a very, very new thing. Right. It wasn't even completely proven.
So at that point, it was a death sentence. So you were legitimately...
Yeah, but then I got myself into a situation where I knew I'd slept with somebody and they were positive, and then I was just kind of like, well, you can't run away from it now, and you need to sort of man up and go find out. And I did.
Do you remember that feeling when you got told?
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to cry? Is that way?
I feel like Piers Morgan here.
I know.
You don't have to.
No, I talk about it. I just did a show in Edinburgh about it, for crying out loud, and I did a video, so like, I'm happy to talk about everything. I think it's good that we do.
It was different, I guess, for you, for someone finding out nowadays, because...
I'm sure it's still quite devastating to anybody finding out, but 9 years ago now, it's this time, Jesus Christ. 9 years ago, yeah, it was very different, I suppose.
And who did you tell anybody at the time?
Yeah, close friends. Mm-hmm. Didn't tell anyone I was going. I went, did all that myself, found out, and then I waited on it for about a week, and then I told my close friends. Was nothing. There was the moment they told me, and it's because I sort of knew, but didn't know. But it still is quite devastating.
It's confirmation.
It's the same with when I was diagnosed with the cancer. There was a certain way at the time that we all perceive it. And I remember with the cancer when I went in and they went, "What do you know about cancer?" And I said a couple of things, and she went, "Yeah, that's so stereotypical. Most of that's not true." And I was like, sure. What do you associate being having cancer? I was like, well, you lose your hair, you get bruised, and you throw up all the time, and you're really skinny, and you look grey. And she was like, well, yeah, but let me explain all of that. And there's a lot more to it. And it's the same with HIV. Everyone's just got this assumption. It's getting better now because there's more education, and we're shouting out, and a lot more people are coming out, which recently, wow, that's been amazing. But at the time, I just had this preconception of what it would be. And that's what puts you off from getting tested as well.
So coming up to going public, which you did 2 years ago, like you say.
Yeah, 2017.
How long did you consider doing that?
I don't know, but like we were talking.
And what prevented you?
I don't know. Well, stigma and discrimination. Also, there is something that I would love to have more of a conversation about, actually. So when you get diagnosed with HIV, there's masses of confidentiality around it to protect you for legal reasons and everything. It's amazing, because when I was in hospital having the chemo, my family didn't know that I was positive.
Wow.
And the doctors were amazing. Before they would talk to anybody, they would double check with me. Do they know? Do you want us to discuss this? Not discuss this? They were so amazing. So the confidentiality and obviously the training that the medical practitioners get is incredible, because it's to protect you legally, which is amazing. However, on the flip side of that, I feel like it breeds, and you need that.
It reinforces.
It breeds a secrecy.
Yeah.
It breeds a shamefulness of it, or keep it hidden to protect you. And they don't force it. They're really good at being very. What's the word? I'm so old and thick. They're very good at being very. Just in the middle of not being one way or the other. But for me now, when I've looked back at it and unravelled it, you kind of go, God, that kind of implants this.
I can't imagine it. Yeah, reinforces you.
It sort of puts you in a HIV closet. That's the only way I can sort of describe it. And you put yourself in there because they advise you, but they don't force you. They just leave it all for you to decide. Wait, do you tell your GP? Do you not? If you tell your GP, it's on that record. And then, and things were different 9 years ago to what they were now, even though it wasn't that long ago. Shit's moved. Sorry, can I swear?
Yeah, of course you can.
Because even PrEP wasn't about. There was no such thing as PrEP.
Yeah.
PEP there was, but there was no PrEP. So it was very interesting, but there's a secrecy to it. So it made me, I feel that it's brilliant. You need that confidentiality, you need that protection, but also I feel that it kind of breeds this. So then when I was thinking about it, it's like I said to you before, I was talking to people about being HIV. I wasn't out, but I wasn't in. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't private, but I wasn't public. I wasn't shouting it from the rooftops. I wasn't owning it. And I noticed in public spaces, I'd be whispering it, or I would think before I actually told somebody, even if it wasn't a big thing. And I was like, oh, there's some shame attached with that. That's not good. And like talking about being in a closet, I thought, oh, this feels like how I was when I was like 15, just before I came out of being gay. I was like, do I either stay like this and tread on eggshells and worry, or just rip the band-aid off, come out, and then it's done, and I can't take it back. And once it's done, and fuck it. So I decided to just do it. So I did.
And 2 years later, has that shame?
Yeah, I have no problem now. And since I have, and obviously then, because I did it on a video and it went on this podcast.
Yeah, so tell us how you did it.
I did it on a video. I decided for some reason to do it on Facebook on a video, because I sort of didn't want to help people, but deep down I did. Do you know what I mean? But I didn't really have the time or the energy to like fight a big cause. But I think I did want to put my story out there. So I decided to do a video and I put it on Facebook, and it kind of went, which was quite cool in the sense that I was getting messages from people saying, you help me, you help me, you help me. And that took some cojones to do that, I suppose.
Yeah. And you've never looked back?
No. And now I don't even, and people talk to me about it, and I'm so open, and I forget that a lot of people, I think a lot more people know than they do.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it went massively viral. 50 million people saw it, but like only a few thousand. But like, I'm just kind of like, I just talk about it and I don't have an issue.
Who were you worried would find out, or at the time you didn't want people to know?
It wasn't really people knowing, it was more the backlash, and because I've been through so much, I can't take on. I mean, being gay, even still now, there's problems, discrimination, all that, and it's bloody tiring and exhausting, and only somebody that's in a minority that gets discriminated against can sympathise with you. But yeah, it's exhausting. So just having another thing to explain or have to fight for, or do you know what I mean, or get, because I've been on dates and I've told people on dates and they literally got up and this guy got up and walked away, stopped talking to me, and that just makes you feel dreadful about yourself. And I just, I didn't tell people because I just didn't want to feel dreadful from somebody else's actions, so it was just easier not to tell people.
And have you found the opposite, that people are actually kind of more receptive to you, or?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
When people come talk to me, I talk more, I'm a little bit more louder about it. I find that it's easier because I don't even think about it now because I've done it, and it's really weird. It's like being a flaming homo. But when I came out, it's weird. It's that word. It's that it's a 3-letter word, and it was the same with HIV. It's this 3-letter word, and it's got so much attached to it. It's that word. It's weird. It's such a little word.
Power of a word.
But it's massively powerful. Yeah. So it was really good to just say it, but no, I don't have a problem now. And yeah, everyone's just like, I still get crap from people, but the worst people I get it from is gay men.
Yes.
That are and I know that sounds, I'm not generalising, but in my little bubble, I get most of my discrimination from gay men.
In the cases of people walking out on dates and
sexual encounters when I come clean about my status, and involuntary, like they will just volunteer up discrimination without me even starting, because I have profiles on apps. I'm out on my profiles. It's all there because I'm undetectable, which is a huge piece of information and really good. And you put it out there, and it just sort of says to people, "Look, I'm educated. Are you?" Like, not sort of berate you for not being educated, but then when you know the facts, then it changes everything. And I still get, it actually happened about a week ago. I had somebody literally, my message popped up on a certain dating app, and straight away, and like calling me things like scumbag and dirty, and you're what's wrong with society, and you disgrace. Yeah.
Do you have a rule within yourself that you won't sleep with someone without telling them, or you won't? Or how far into a dating do you?
I try and get it, with dating apps, that's why I put it on my profile, because it's done. So if I'm hooking up, I'm like, you make sure you've read my app, read my profile, and if not, then I'll tell them. But that's why it's just full disclosure, and it's just there. But also, it's a funny argument. There's a wonderful guy called Greg Owen who works with Terence Higgins, but he was responsible for I Want Prep Now.
Yeah.
But because of the whole undetectable thing, now he's like, do you have to disclose your status because you're undetectable, which means you can't pass it on? So do you actually? But
that's maybe it becomes less of a legal implication and a more moral implication.
Yeah, but I don't even know if there's a legal implication now with that, because has anyone visited it? Because if you're undetectable, you can't pass it on. Yeah. So do you actually need to tell anybody? It's an interesting question. It is, and it's going to be interesting over the next few years to see what happens.
Yeah, but that's why it becomes kind of your choice whether to tell people and when.
And
the implications of, obviously, if you enter into a relationship with someone and somewhere down the point you're going to have that conversation, and it's how they feel. I
have worse conversations than having to tell them I'm HIV now. Yeah, Jesus, it's the other stuff. Going, I go to the hospital once a month, like, and have a treatment. Are you going to cope with that? Like, let's not even go there, but that's even worse for me. I'm always like, oh Jesus, I've got to tell them all that and watch them run for the hills.
So, going on to your career, were you ever scared before coming out publicly that it was going to impact the work you had, an audience you got?
Do you mean like losing followers or audience members, or like people not employing me because I'm HIV? No. Well, we work in the theatre industry, it's a lot more liberal.
Yeah.
And as we're seeing, there's a certain case happening at the moment to do with a show called Colour Purple. And it's just like, we're a lot more open-minded and open. So I don't think, that didn't ever worry me. No.
Do you think there's been positive implications of your diagnosis?
Of being positive about being
positive.
positive.
Bit by positive.
Bloody words. Yes, there is. Of course there is. There's many. But on the work thing, the positive impact is I'm now doing more queer and HIV/mental health work. My work is gearing towards that now. I think that's where I'm using. I wasn't like, I'm not an activist. I'm not doing this whole rah. But actually, when I look at my work, I'm like, well, you kind of are, but you're doing it in a different way. I'm not a person to stand up on a soapbox and shout. However, since doing the show in Edinburgh and working with a lot more queer artists over the last few years, but especially in the last year, I am actually starting to get on my soapbox a little bit because I have my specific point of view. It's quite unique, I think. So it's quite cool to sort of say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all come from the strength you've developed since.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's just weird, but it's just like, if you're going to do it, I suppose put it in your work then.
Yeah.
But then when you invite me doing this, I probably wouldn't have done this. But like now, I'm like, yeah, let's tell everybody, and everyone needs to know. Yeah, I've got very like that. Just don't like seeing people misguided. And just getting the facts. And that was what you're saying about what's positive about being positive. I got educated about sexual health completely, and taboos just have disappeared. And sexually, actually, it's helped me as well in my life, knowing my status.
Yeah. And
being in control of everything. It's very, very interesting. But I'm a lot more. I've had a bit of a sexual liberation because of it as well, in a good way, in a great good way. Yeah, had a lot of fun.
Can I imagine? Yeah, now
keep it stagey.
It's relieved that kind of
and
burden
I'm in control of it
because you can't pass it on.
Well, yeah, and we were talking about not, like you were saying at the beginning, so like so being scared, not going to get tested. I get tested very regularly now.
Yeah.
If I'm playing more, I get tested more. If not, I'm definitely like twice a year. Sometimes it's every 3 months, and if I've been very active, I just go and actually went yesterday. Got my text this morning, and I'm okay. Everything's great. But yeah, no, I'm very educated. I take my meds to protect me and to protect others. And just get tested regularly, but because I'm in control of it, and also not being fearful if something happens. Because it can't really get any worse. Well, I don't know about death, but I've nearly been there. So like, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, it's sort of taken the worry away in a sense. It's just like, yeah, it's not nice if you catch an STI, but it happens. Okay, yeah. So the fact that my issue was because saying about the HIV was far gone, and then the knock-on effect of the cancer, and then unfortunately I'm left with the condition because of the chemotherapy. Like, my life has been royally screwed, but it's all about early detection. That's what I've learned. It's about knowing your status and early detection. And a lot of people that do get diagnosed quite early on, they know they've been exposed to it, they go straight on meds because that never used to happen 9 years ago. And you become undetectable quite quickly, long as you respond to the meds quite well, which now there's less and less resistance to the drugs. Then you're done. And then just keep on top of yourself. Take your meds, and then touch wood, you're all right. Do you know what I mean? It's a pretty clear case, so that's why I get tested regularly now, and I make sure I look after myself. People can talk about your physical health, we all go to the gym, and we're now starting to do our mental health. It's like, we're all sexual, just look after your sexual health. Yeah, so that's been the biggest positivity out of it. And also, so when you take the pill every morning, some people talk... You have to take three. Some people talk about it acts as a kind of constant reminder. And how does that impact you? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Because sometimes the second nature, you have like everyone has a morning routine or an evening routine. Yeah. When you wash, brush teeth, deodorant, whatever, pills, gone. I do mine at night. Yeah. So it's get home. I've just eaten half a pack of biscuits with a cup of tea. I dunked them. That's not even a lie either. No wonder I'm not fit into the slim fits. And then it's like you get ready for bed. So you go brush your teeth, and then I just take my pills and you go to bed. But it depends mentally where you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just do it, fine, not an issue. And then in that routine, on the odd occasion, you will catch yourself. And it is a bit of like a... Because I think for me, I have other routines that I have to do for my health. It does weigh you down at times. Or the time you forget about it, you just do it. And then it's like, if you have to go away... that's when it becomes a reminder. Or you do get poorly, it becomes a reminder, because then you have to go and interact with it all, the clinics, the doctors, you have to bring it all up. That's when it starts to impact you negatively, I think, for me anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's weird. It is weird. Like I say, yeah, you take your pill and you'll be fine, and that is true. But yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that goes with it. So get tested.
Yeah.
And if you are negative, great. And if you're sexually active and you want to have condomless sex, fine, then take PrEP and get tested regularly. Just be educated, find out what works for you, and then take responsibility for it. And because the government do not educate us when we're little, I do not want to put out an ad campaign about being undetectable either, which is dreadful. Then we have to take responsibility and go, right, I need to educate myself. And there's a lot more information out there now, and it's a lot easily accessible.
Yeah. And the campaign to get PEP and PrEP on NHS seems to be... How do you feel about that?
Yeah, great. Anything to help. I spoke to Michael Brady, who is up there.
There is an argument, and I think it stems from the gay community as well, where people think...
PrEP shaming.
Yeah, it perpetuates...
You're a dirty slut if you take PrEP, because that means you're having sex without a condom. See, people say safe sex is with a condom, and that's how it used to be, but that's no longer the case. And it's language and terminology, and people need to really learn what the difference is, but that's down to education. Yes. It's no longer called a disease. It was called a disease. It's a virus.
Yeah.
You know, it's HIV. The V is for virus. So that's a language we need to learn. Undetectable is a word that everyone needs to learn. And PrEP and PEP. But things like it's not a disease, it's a virus. They are very, very different things, and people need to understand that. Safe sex can be without a condom. You can still have safe sex.
Yeah.
Yes, you are exposed to other things, but if you know your status and you know the statuses of other people that you're playing with, then you're covered, and you'll find that is classed as safe sex now.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are still in the frame of going, if you're not having a condom, you're dirty, you're disgusting, and you should be shamed for it. Because people are like, well, if you take PrEP, you're having sex without condoms, and then you can pass on all sorts of other STIs. And it's like, well, if you haven't got them because you're getting tested regularly, and if you know, and if the person you're playing with knows, takes responsibility, then we're all laughing, we're all brilliant, and we have a good time. So I get really angry at that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got very firm.
No, I like that. I mean, it's a fact that if everybody who has HIV is undetectable and takes their medication, and everybody who isn't is taking preventative. We can eradicate it.
This is what Michael Brady was saying. He's a big doctor with Terence Higgins and on the fight with HIV, and because now they've said by 2030, no more transmissions. You just stabilise it, then it can't go anywhere, then you eradicate that. And yes, people go, oh, the cost of PrEP, and all, but actually that's cheaper than long-term medication and medical assistance to anyone living on with HIV, and the knock-on effect of that. So it's actually cheaper to give everyone PrEP. Yeah. That's the argument. It just brings everything down. But then education.
Yeah.
That means ad campaigns, but the government are not doing anything. No ad campaign about being undetectable. No nationwide campaign. So anything you see is being funded by Terence Higgins or Do It London. Like no one else is screaming about it.
And it's also worrying that the last big move the government did was the gravestone.
The tombstone. Yeah. Thank you, Maggie.
That was the last time they put that much attention and money into educating.
Some people still think now if you kiss you can get it, or if you
or if you share a glass or
dreadful. Dreadful.
So what do you think the future is for trying to inform and educate? What do you think?
Well, it depends on what government we have in their agenda, because politics is not the way it was. It wasn't just to serve the people. Now it's all for power and status and rule. It's not. So I don't know, to be honest. Yeah. But it is down to them. They fund the NHS through how we pay for it through national insurance, but that they decide where the money's going, and it's down to them and education. And we just saw the backlash in Birmingham just about inclusive education, but like education from the beginning. If it's installed in you when you're being taught about everything about life, then you live that life educated and with that system in place. It's down to the government. So they say, oh yeah, by 2030 it's like, but we are sitting on this massive amount of information about being undetectable, but where's the huge nationwide campaign? Thank you, Gareth Thomas, for doing your documentary.
Yeah.
I was reading about Terence Higgins, how they had a massive spike in hits on their site, and especially on the can't pass it on information.
Really?
Yep.
And people get more
Huge,
tested.
yeah, and PrEP, but like from the documentary, it was all the can't pass it on information, which was amazing.
How did you feel when you saw that, or
Yeah,
did you watch it? Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Did any of it resonate with you? Was it a
Yeah.
bit too close to the bone?
It's always, you hear about anybody that comes out to me or tells me about their status, it always resonates, because you go, there's a sense of pride. Say, great, you know who you are, you're owning it. Yeah, there's a sense of like, I know, like, it's that thing, is like I said before, it's like when you talk about minorities, it's only a minority that can understand what you've been through. So it's nice to connect. There's a sort of sense of relief that you can sit and talk to somebody and they know exactly your thoughts and your feelings about something. So it's that, but then you also you feel the hurt, and it comes back up of going, Jesus, you must have had a rough time. Do you know what I mean? Anybody that told me that, I'd be like, yeah, I remember when I got diagnosed and how the work I've had to do and the daily work that I have to do to keep going. So when someone tells you, you kind of go, Jesus. And then you worry, I go, well, God, were they on their own? Did they share it with anybody? Because you just don't want anyone to go through that on their own. And you want to go, it's okay, like, it's okay. I wish I was there. I wish I knew earlier. I wish you'd come out to me earlier or whatever. Yeah.
And can I talk about, so we talked about Gareth Thomas and how part of his resistance to come out publicly was to protect his family. And you mentioned earlier about how part of your delay coming public, or consideration, was because you hadn't told your family.
Aren't we selfless? Like, even as gay men, I think that's, I don't know, for me, like, because you worry about the knock-on effect and who else you might hurt, but you, by not coming out about whatever it is you want to come out, the fundamental person you're hurting is yourself. When we worry all about, is everybody else, how is everybody else going to react, how are they going to feel, who's going to be horrible to my family members because they have a HIV brother or a sister, or like, do you know what I mean? And you just kind of go, like, sod that. Like, the book stops with you. You've got to live your life, and the only person you're doing massive damage to is yourself, I think. It's hard. I understand it, because you want to protect people as well, you know. You don't want your problems to become somebody else's problem or issue. So I get it, but you've got to live your life. And that sounds awful, but because it's saying, well, they'll just have to suck it up. Do you know what I mean? And there's that, well, if they love you, they'll be there for you. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. I don't know, because every case is different. But you've got to look after yourself. But it's when you're ready. I make a joke about when I gave up smoking. Everyone always says, like, I've been giving up smoking, like, I've lost count, it's like 12 or 13 years or something. But you do it when you want to do it. And I think it's a thing of everything has to just align, and you just have to be ready.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
That's all right. I've just waffled a load of old rubbish.
No, you're talking a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
That's the thing as well. It's the same way I learned this with cancer, and it's, you know, but with HIV, everyone's experience is different.
Yeah.
You know, so when you speak, you go, yeah. But then I think that's my issue. Is part of me goes, it'd be really good to be a mouthpiece, because I have a very interesting story to share and have some very strong views on it, and I've unpacked a lot. But also go, but this is my specific point of view, and it's not the same as somebody else's. So it's good. I'd rather tell it through my story and my experience than going, so this is how it is. And it's like, well, it's not, because somebody else might live a different life with it, and it doesn't diminish that their life is, and the way that they want to handle it and do it is valid. We spend a lot of time, especially on Twitter, telling people how they should be or how things should be, and it's like, well, not necessarily. We're really getting to the spectrum sort of side of life, where it's like you want to be this or that, but everyone is unique in their own way, and it's quite interesting. But yeah, so I think with me sharing it, I like talking about it, but this is just from my point of view. You know, it doesn't mean that it has to be the way, or it's like I'm telling people. You know what I mean?
I do.
Because everyone just does what they want in their own time when they want to.
Because I didn't have the knowledge, it was a big pool of fear. Am I going to get a job if I tell people? Am I going to find someone to fall in love with? Am I going to, live beyond a certain age? There were so many questions in my head that were just going round and round, and I didn't know the answers.